Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for AAC Light-Heavyweight M2. This is the second newest raid encounter made available by patch 7.01 in Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. If you've been wiping to this fight, you'll know that defeat really stings, and you may not have the heart to continue. Before you sound the alarm, make a beeline for the exit and tender your resignation from raid, seek me, honey. I'd love to help. My name is BizTech and I'll be your raid guide. Call me honey will deal high raid-wide damage. Healers be ready. Tempting twists will form a room-wide donut AoE attack around the boss. Players will need to move in near the boss to avoid getting hit. Honey Beeline will throw out a room-wide line attack through the boss. This attack is slightly wider than the boss's hitbox, and all players will need to stand on her sides at least max melee range to avoid getting hit. Honeyed Breeze will target the two tanks with line tank busters. Tanks will need to move away from others to avoid overlapping. Don't forget your cooldowns. Throughout the encounter, the boss will jump to the center and begin to cast Honeybee Live. This will deal high raid-wide damage and mark the beginning of a mini phase. All players will have 3 empty hearts above their heads that will fill up as they get hit by the boss's attacks. Having all 3 hearts fill up will cause you to lose control over your character for some time and is generally not advised. Love Me Tender will mark all players with circle AoE attacks. Spread apart to avoid overlapping. This attack will fill up 1 heart and cannot be avoided. Heart tower circles will appear around the platform that will explode after a short time, dealing massive damage and applying an extra heart stack to all players. Each of these heart towers must be soaked by 1 player to avoid excess damage and stacks. The players that stand in these towers will also fill up an extra heart. Love Seeker is a point-blank circle attack around the boss that can be avoided by moving out of the way. Immediately after, hearts will appear from the boss and at the edge of the platform that will begin to float across the platform towards players. On top of all that, multiple small and large ground circle AoEs will appear over the platform. All of these attacks will deal high damage and add hearts to any player's hit. As such, it's essential that players are very careful not to get hit by anything during this time, as getting a full 3 hearts and getting stunned here will probably result in your death. The boss will turn in a random direction and cast Blow Kiss, a wide frontal cone attack. All players will need to move behind her to avoid getting hit. The next Love Me Tender will form large circle markers over the platform in succession. Players will need to identify the first circle to appear and stand near it. Once it explodes, move into that area to dodge the rest of the attacks. Honeybee Finale will deal more raid-wide damage, remove player heart meters, and return the platform to normal. Splash of Venom will coat the boss's stinger with poison and add mechanics to previous attacks. During the next Tempting Twist, a number of poison globs will fly out onto the platform that will soon explode in wide AoE circles. At the same time, players will be marked with these circle markers. To handle this, players will first move into the safe zones formed around the exploding globs before spreading out to avoid overlapping. During the next Honeybee line, more poison globs will appear and players will again need to find the safe spots formed between them. A player will be marked with a stack-up marker and all players will need to stand with them after the globs explode to share the incoming damage. Alarm pheromones will spawn adds around the outer edge of the platform that will throw out line attacks across the platform in the same order that they spawned in. While this is very busy visually, players can simply chase the active attack around the platform until all of the attacks resolve. The next set of adds will all spawn on one side of the platform at the same time, creating a bow tie shaped attack. To avoid getting hit, stand near the edge of the telegraphed lines until the attack goes off. During the next Honeybee Live mini phase, 2 players will be targeted for stack up. The raid will need to split in 2 to help share the damage of both attacks. During the next set of heart towers, more towers will appear and players will need to make sure each one is soaked. Since most players will have 2 hearts going into the next Love Seeker cast, you'll need to be extra careful not to get hit during this barrage of attacks. The next set of adds will have each group B throwing out their attack in a random direction. This can get pretty chaotic pretty quickly, so do your best to avoid getting hit. All of these attacks will repeat until the boss is down. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we face off against AAC Light-Heavyweight M2. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.